Hello, solopreneurs. I just got out of the gym today. So I'm in my workout clothes, and that may seem strange, but you know what? I've got an important point to make. Yes, I could change my clothes after the gym, but I want you to really understand something. And so today I'm just like embodying it. I'm bringing it to you as a good reminder that you know what? You're not just building your personal health, your personal strength. If you want to build the strength of your business, it needs a workout too. So think about the gym. You know, that's how we build strength, right? You go, you try to find a corner away from the hardcore workout people who make you look bad. You do the reps, right? You do the work. And we understand that. We get that when we're talking about getting healthy, getting strong. You know, you want to work out your muscles. And you know you're going to get sore. And you know you're going to have to go to the gym in spite of it. But we forget that when we're talking about our businesses, don't we? We forget that there's a lot of grunt work. We forget that we've got to do the reps. And so, you know, all this work, it can be exhausting. It can be exhausting to have to wake up early to make sure you have time for the gym, whether it's before or after work. It's tiring, isn't it? But it's also exhilarating. It also feels great to look in the mirror and realize, hey, wait, I look a lot better. Or, hey, look at this muscle. Things like that. But we need to do the same thing for our business. So welcome to the Solopreneur Life Podcast. I am your host, Kathryn Aragon. Listen here for smart tips that will help you launch and grow a six-figure business without overwhelm or burnout. Today, we are talking about the number one success tip that no one is telling you about. But before we dive in, take a minute to subscribe to the Solopreneur Life Podcast wherever you tune in, because I don't want you to miss a single episode. So, where does all this start? If we're talking about success tips for your solopreneur business, it starts with focusing on the end result. You always need to know where you're trying to end up, right? And let's go back to the gym. Strength training. Whether it's your health, your endurance, or your career, it's about doing the reps. It's about knowing where I want to go, about developing a strategy, committing to the grunt work, and then showing up. And that's the hard part. We like creating a strategy and a goal. I want to say, oh yeah, man, I'd love to build my strength. I'd love to look like I actually have muscles for me. That would be awesome. But it's getting to the gym. It's doing the workouts. It's doing the reps that's hard. How many times have you made a New Year's resolution to go to the gym every day or even once a week, and you wake up and you think, oh, really? Do I gotta go? You know what? I don't need to go today. It's raining outside. It's cold. I just want to sleep. We always have excuses, don't we? Well, it's always that way. It doesn't matter what we're trying to do. If we want to get to the goal, we've got to do the work. And here's the other thing about all this. It always feels like, and this is, I think, why it's so easy to put it off. It feels like we're not making progress. And part of it is because we're experiencing the growth. It's like watching your child grow up. Parents, you get me on this, right? It's like, to you, your child is still 2 years old, and they're 30 now. It's like we forget to observe the changes. We forget to notice the little tiny pieces of improvement. That's why, there are some people who love to track everything. And part of that is so they can visually see the results. But if we're not doing that, it's easy to get bogged down with just the grind. I just am tired of doing this thing and it doesn't seem to be working anyway, right? Well, wrong. It is working. You just can't always see the results. Sometimes there's internal work that's taking place, and you don't see that. There's no evidence. But then you cross a milestone, and then all of a sudden some weight drops off, or you notice, hey, wait, I'm bulking up a little. Hey, this looks great. But you've got to put in the work if you want to see those results. Now, you also have to realize there are some goals, and I don't know if this is really true of weight training, but I know it's true of business and of my personal life. Some goals you never really hit. For those, it's really about the journey more than it is about arriving. And I think in particular, okay, those of you who are writers or artists, or you do any musicians, all of us, I mean, we get it. This is something all of us have to just deeply ingrain in our brains. I will never truly arrive. Every single year, I set a couple of goals. I actually set, one, I really want to achieve this outcome this year, whatever it may be. And I make it as a goal that I know is achievable. It's not like this big lofty thing. It's like, this is the thing I'm focusing on this year. But almost every year, there's this secondary one of I'm working on my writing. Now, why, at my level, I am a professional. I've published books. I work with some of the most amazing companies in the world, but I'm still working on the quality of my writing. Why is that? Because I'm an artist, and I know I will never truly arrive. That's not possible. So if I'm not working on my craft, it's not going to happen. I'll go backwards, not forwards. I have to work on the craft just to maintain. And then I have to work a little bit harder to actually improve. Now, that's the kind of mindset that we actually need to bring to the table. And for this, when I think about going to the gym, okay, I used to write for a financial services company, and I was in the insurance division. So I was doing a lot of writing about maintaining your health. Why? Because that's how you keep your insurance rates lower. So this is stuff I've done in-depth, tons of research on this. And what blew me away was some statistics on just walking. You see, that at the end of your life, the hope is that you just live your days and then you kind of drop dead. That sounds morbid, but that's really what we would prefer, right? We don't really want to have a major disease strike and then live as invalids for years before that moment comes. But what's the best way to do that? This is what I learned when I was writing about health, and it's just exercise for 30 to 45 minutes a day. That's all it takes. There was one guy I read about. He walked everywhere. He didn't like driving. And he lived a longer time, healthier, happier, because his body was so fit. His body was able to use oxygen more efficiently. He was strong, and he didn't have that long decline until that moment. Now, all this is health related, but notice the routine, the grunt work that's involved in this. The process is we have to commit to showing up and doing the work. And our health, see, that's the research of it. It impacts your health. It impacts your personal life. A lot of people are now getting into meditation. Why? Because stress is so bad for us. So lack of exercise is bad for us. Stress is bad for us. Well, it's the same principle for your business. Your business is never going to get strong. It's never going to thrive. And it might die an early death if you don't learn how to put in the reps. We have to figure out what our strategy is. We have to figure out what are the exercises we need to go through to build a stronger business. And are we willing to commit to the grunt work? Because that's really what it is. We like the idealized version of being a solopreneur. And what is that? You probably have your own vision, but these are the things I've seen out there. And that is the person sitting on the beach with their computer, they're drinking a cocktail while they're watching the waves and earning $1 million a year. I mean, think about it. That's not realistic for anybody. Nobody works that way. Now, maybe you've built a business that can run without you, but most of us as solopreneurs, that's not what we're building. We are building a lifestyle business, but we're not able to earn good money if we're off hiking through the forest or sitting on the beach. I heard someone one time call this business porn. And that's exactly what it is. It's this idealized vision that actually makes us resistant to the truth. The truth is, you got to do the reps. If you want a strong business, it means you've got to do the work. You've got to show up even when you don't feel like it. You've got to perform. You've got to be your own boss. That's how I like to think about it. I'm a hard boss on myself because I make myself show up. And I don't get sick days. Jonathan will tell you, we'll talk with him at the end. My sick day is me laying on the couch with my tablet, and I'm trying to take it easy, but an idea comes to mind. So I start punching it in some document, either a document or a note. And by the end of the day, I've got a full strategy for a whole new product. Why? Because I don't really take sick days. Every day is a work day. Every moment I'm thinking about my business, coming up with ideas. Now that's the glamorous side of it. That's the fun side of it. But are we really executing it? We've got the strategy. We've got to execute. We've got to do the reps. So all this is we're focusing on what we're trying to achieve, but we're doing the work that it takes to get there. So let's talk more about reps. What are the reps? What are we talking about here? Because, it's easy to visualize an exercise. I've got a set of weights and I'm doing the reps, right? Well, other people do. I don't do a lot of reps. Y'all know I'm coming off of a spinal cord injury. I do actually have to be careful not to do too much or I can set myself back. I do maybe 5 reps and I'm like, whew, that was a good workout. That's not really a workout. And it's not the way we need to be doing our business either. If you're putting in 2 hours and going, whew, what a great day. Whew, I'm just growing so much. I'm sorry, you are leaving so much on the table. I'm going to tell you this right now. You've got to put in the reps. You've got to show up. If you don't sit in front of your computer and do something, if you're laying on the couch thinking about your business and making plans, then you're leaving money on the table. The only way to grow a strong business is to do the reps. Now, as we talk about reps, I need us to back up for just a minute. It takes more than just doing grunt work. It is so easy for us to get bogged down by our own expectations. That business porn we talked about being perfect, about looking good, about impressing somebody we care about. But it's a mental game here that we're talking about. You've got to do the reps, but half of it is your mental game. How are you thinking about what you're doing? You see, we get bogged down when we're trying to hit these expectations that they're not part of the game. What you look like doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I mean, look at me. I'm in my workout clothes, right? What really matters is that you're showing up on a daily basis, that you're being consistent about showing up in the office, sitting down to the computer, putting in the hours, putting in the reps, because it's a long game. This is not overnight success. Overnight success, you know this. It's a myth. Think about the iceberg. This is so trite. I don't need to tell you this. I'm just reminding you. Think about the iceberg. And we see this little tiny piece of ice above the water, but what's underneath this gigantic something, big wad that can sink the Titanic. Well, any little thing can sink you if you're not putting in the work. You've got to show up. You've got to think about the long game. You've got to think about, am I willing to show up every day so I can achieve this thing way down the road that I'm aiming for? So it's not about who you're trying to impress. You don't need to look good to anyone else. You need to look good to you. What do you think about? What do you care about? What matters to you? Anyone who's ever seen me in real life knows I don't care about my appearance. I just make up and I have to force myself to do that I have to force myself to brush my hair because I really don't care about that. I care about the things I'm creating. I think about, the work I'm doing and the impact I want to make. That's what matters to me and that's what gets my attention. If you care more about looking good to other people, guess what? That's where your attention is going to go. That's what's going to get the focus, which means you're not building your business properly. That's the important thing. Keep your focus where it belongs. Those people in the back of the gym who I like to avoid, they're not thinking about who's looking at them. They're so busy working out that they're worth looking at. They look fantastic. I don't want to be near them because I just look so weak next to them. So I go into the other corner where all the weak people go. And maybe I still look weak next to them, but whatever. Notice what I'm doing in the gym. It's not what we're supposed to do. I'm focusing on other people. I'm worried about what I look like. And as a result, I'm not great in the gym. But I am great in the office. And you know why? It's because I don't worry about what other people think. And that's how we need to be. We need to stop worrying about appearances. We need to focus on the reps that need to take place and doing the reps. So, repetition. That's what it's about. What are reps? It's repetitions. So you can learn. Let's see, it needs to become such a natural activity that you can do it without thinking about it. Those are what reps are. Reps are repetitions that ingrain this movement into your body. Well, in business, I go through reps when I am onboarding a client. I wrote down a few examples, so I'm going to read these 3 examples to you. So let's say you're working on getting clients. Maybe that's your first focus. Okay, I'm not great enough at getting clients. And trust me, you can be earning 6 figures and still not be great at getting clients. Maybe something fell into your lap and you've been running this business on momentum. But what happens when a pandemic hits or you get ill and something slows down? Maybe you lose your best client and all of a sudden you're scrambling. Well, you've got to work on getting clients, right? So what's the rep? The rep is I'm going to go out and I'm going to start doing lead generation. I'm going to talk to people and I'm going to close people and I'm going to do it so frequently it becomes second nature. It's easy. I know the things I need to say. I know how to talk to people. I know how to introduce myself. I know how to close the deal. I know how to lead people through the next steps and onboard them so they trust me. If you're not doing this over and over and over again from beginning to end, then you're not learning it. You're not doing the reps enough to make it muscle memory. And that's what we need to do. Writing. Let's say you want to write. I actually heard about this concept of doing the reps from some writers. And they said, we know our books are not the best quality books out there, but we're doing reps. We are completing the cycle of starting and finishing and selling a book so often that little by little, yes, the muscle memory increases and we get better and better and better at it. They focused on speed of completion and selling so they could make a living. Well, sounds just like us, doesn't it? We've got to focus on the reps so we can get good at completing a cycle, getting new clients, completing a project, publishing our own marketing materials. If it's not second nature, it's hard. And running your business should be fun and easy. It only gets that way if you are doing the reps. So let's say you want to launch a product. Maybe that's the rep you need to work on. So I need to create the product. I need to turn my idea into an outline. I need to develop it. Then I need to create the marketing for it. I need to do the events to get people excited. I need to build the marketing arc. Have we talked about that? Attention, relationship, conversion. That's the whole arc. That's the whole workflow. And if I'm not doing the entire thing from beginning to end over and over and over again, I'm not getting stronger. So what are the reps you need to be developing? What are the things that you need to be doing right now to grow your business? Those are the reps you need to be practicing. It's not about, I just want to be on the beach and typing and doing my thing. No, it's about figuring out what's going to grow your business, what's going to make you stronger so you can build a business you actually enjoy working on. Jonathan, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, again, you covered a lot in a short amount of time. One of the things that I wanted to get you to address was that difference between living with it, doing the reps, and having that balance of life. Because we have laughed at some of the pictures of, and we've even used some of the pictures for client articles of the guy sitting on the beach drinking a margarita, and his business is working in the background. And there's a degree to that. That's the automation.
Yeah,
right?
that honestly, I'm going to inject here. That was the ideal like 10, 15 years ago. That's what everyone thought the internet was going to give us. But that was a different time. These days, business is digital, and automation is just a tool. It's not the end result. And I think once social media came on, and we've got really jaded by a lot of automated marketing businesses, where it was like, oh, this is bad quality. You sucked me in with great marketing, but you didn't deliver.
And maybe the more honest picture is that, yes, you can be on the beach, but the successful entrepreneur is going to have his tablet with him on the beach.
If you're on the beach. Yeah.
If he's on the beach, he's going to have his tablet nearby.
Sure. Take a week. Take a week's vacation and leave the tablet at home and go sit on the beach. I'm not good at that. I kind of like my tablet with me. I have a pad of paper if I don't have a tablet. But you take a week, but you can't take off every week and grow a business.
And you can't just do the 1 hour work week.
The 4-hour work week. That's again, it's a different strategy where you're building a business that can run without you. And what you're doing then is you're creating a sellable asset. But it's still a business. If you're not focused on the business, if you're not hiring people and overseeing them and managing things, you're not going to have a 4-hour work week.
And so then, it's going to be a whole other podcast topic.
Right.
Striking that balance. You plan downtime and make it real downtime.
Yeah.
But you need to know that it's unrealistic for there to be so much downtime that you're not doing anything. Because even if you have things automated, you have things structured where the business is not dependent on your presence, you still need to be mentally present for the business.
Exactly. My brother is a really good example. He runs a business, and he's funny because there's my brother and his wife, and both of them have their own businesses. She likes to be hands-on. She wants to be physically present. And my brother is always fussing at her, you need to hire that out so you have more free time. Because he runs his business, he hires managers who he can trust, and they do the grunt work. But he is constantly focused on, products and managing his people and making sure the marketing is happening. He's still running the business. He's still present.
He's investing in it differently.
Yes, it's a different way of approaching it. And you know what? You can be a solopreneur and do both ways. It's not like being a solopreneur. This was the fallacy that I bought into in my early years, was that, no, this is just me. I am the artist, and you're calling on me because I'm me, and you love what I do. But you cannot really grow. You can build reps. All right, you can do the reps, and you can get stronger at whatever your craft is. But you're not going to grow a stronger business, unfortunately, because you're going to hit a glass ceiling. There's only so much time in the day that you can trade for money. So you're limiting your growth. The minute you're ready to start hiring help, that's when you're going to exceed the time problem. And you're going to begin growing your business in a totally different way. Now there's no limits. But now what are you doing? Instead of, the reps are different. Because you're hiring people, you're managing people, you're overlooking other things, and you're spending more time on selling than on actual execution.
And this is the key to scaling.
Yes.
This is the key to scaling that you may have talked about in another podcast, or maybe that was on your Authority Journey podcast. But if you make the business completely dependent on you, it can't scale. But that's different from being mindful of the business.
Yes.
And doing those reps, whether that be investing in your managers, like your brother does, he invests in them, encourages them, trains them so that they can do more. Or whether that's you being, the solopreneur and you're doing those reps.
Yeah.
You were joking around about your idea of time on the couch. And in fact, I woke up this morning about an hour and a half later than you, and as soon as I woke up, you handed me the tablet with this whole new marketing strategy for working with onboarding new clients. I'm like, how long have you been awake? So, you're thinking about it all the time, but I think something else really important there that you touched on with regard to your experience in the gym and your ability in the gym.
Right.
And that is to be realistic.
I think that's
about
important.
Your expectations.
Yes, I will
If we
never.
had 5 kids at home, if we didn't have an empty nest, it would be harder to just not put it. You'd have to put it down
Yes.
at times.
Yes, and on the realistic expectations. I think that is an important aspect of what we're talking about. So it's always important to know, what are the reps I should be doing? What are the things that matter? When I go to the gym, I will never, ever be a bodybuilder. That is not on the table. So it would be unrealistic of me to go back and hang out with those hardcore bodybuilders and go, I'm one of you guys, right? They would laugh me out of the gym. It's not happening. So we're just not even going to go there. Well, there are areas of your business that maybe it's just never going to happen. And maybe you do need to hire help for that. Maybe, you've got to figure out rather than doing the reps, like, I'm sorry, I will never be able to learn this. This is way beyond my scope. So I hire someone to fill in that gap that I can't do. But I am going to work on these other reps that are not natural to me, but that I can learn. I've been talking in LinkedIn this week about I read somewhere somebody posted that they saw marketing as a creative skill as opposed to a business skill. And that just, it was like, oh, we're talking about this. Because sure, I'm a creative. I'm a creative first. And I don't see marketing as a creative activity. Yes, I use my creativity in it. But you know what? It's way more three-dimensional than that. I can't if I just focus on the creative, I'm not tracking, I'm not optimizing, I'm not looking at the metrics, I'm not improving. It takes both. And so I think, the fact that I'm so good at the creative side of it, that's easy. Should I lean into the thing I'm good at? No. I'm already good at it. That's going to continue to improve, just because I'm doing the reps. The thing I need to lean into and focus on is the part that doesn't come as naturally. And, I didn't start my business knowing that I needed to do analytics and conversion rate optimization. I didn't know what those things were. It's not that I can't do them. It's not that I wasn't able to learn them. It's that I didn't even know they existed. You know this. There are things you don't even know you don't know.
Right.
But we've got to work on the things, lean into the things, and do the reps on the things that are harder for us.
Right. I liked what you said about your experience when writing for the health industry and the insurance industry, was that, I remember we actually were looking at a few examples. There was some of the people from our generation will remember Jack LaLanne.
Oh, that's almost before our time.
Before our time.
Yeah.
He was before our time. But I remember when you were doing this study, we looked at him as one of those examples. He lived into his 90s.
Oh yeah, and he was trim and strong.
Yeah, and his wife commented that when he passed away, it was that very sudden event. He got ill, declined very quickly, but until the day he got ill, that illness that did take his life, he was doing his full exercise routine well into his 90s. He was still doing 100 push-ups a day and doing his full exercise routine.
So I think there's two ways to think about reps. There's the things we have to do for just health, and then there are the things we have to do to improve.
Right.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, no. I think what I was, really trying to point out there was that the quality of his life. There are other people who live to 95, but they're not pulling 100 push-ups in one sitting because their bodies have atrophied. And that's what can happen to your business. You don't do the reps. Some of those things will atrophy, some of those skills. Have you ever done, for example, going back to upload a video on a platform you haven't been on for a while. And then you got to remember, because you haven't been doing the reps.
Well, think about home improvement projects.
Yes.
That's a really good example. Let's say you've got a leak under the sink, Jonathan. And, you get under the sink and fix a leak, what, once every decade?
Yeah, right.
Right? So it's going to take you that much longer to figure out, okay, what's the process? What do I need? What are the tools I need? How do I diagnose this? Whereas if you were in there every single day, it would be like boop, 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 boop.
Well, this actually happened because, I don't know if we've spoken about it here, but we've done a lot of remodeling and selling.
Yeah, we have.
Remodeling and selling. And so we did, that was back before YouTube when you couldn't cheat. You had to go in there and learn it. But I remember, because in grad school, one of the things that we did to work our way through grad school was I painted houses professionally. And I remember one time I was going to paint my house like 20 years later, one of the houses that we were remodeling. And I had a contractor friend who said, I've got a paint sprayer. I'll loan it to you, so you don't have to rent it. But I hadn't used a paint sprayer in 15, 20 years. And it took me longer to remember how to set it up and clean it than it took me to paint the house.
Right. And here you had been working as a professional, but even our professional skills can get rusty if we aren't doing the reps.
Yeah.
It's so, so important, not just to grow, but to maintain.
Right. And then it doesn't mean that you don't hire someone out, and that that could be a reason why if you had to jump back in, you'd have to scale back up. You'd have to dust off the cobwebs from that skill. But what it does mean is that you're aware of what that person is doing for you, which is going to increase your ability to value them, to input, because you know what it takes.
Yeah.
So all of these things, even if I don't become the expert at them, there was a new client this month that came to you saying, I know I can do these things, but I know you can do them better. Right. And so, but because he knows the value, he was not a difficult client to onboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. All it takes is you understanding what you need to achieve, understanding what should be happening for you to develop the muscle memory. So it's just 100% natural. You wake up, this needs to happen, boom, boom, boom. It happens. Or I know it so well, I can hire someone to do it, and I know what I'm asking them to do. And I think that's just as valuable. As we grow, we do more of that. And then we get to do more reps on the strategy side, the thinking side, the promotion side. But it still takes reps regardless of what you're doing.
Agreed.
You've got to go from the beginning to the end a lot.
Go back over those some of those reps that we should be doing.
Okay, well, let's say, you're running a business, and I'm doing this not from my notes because I think there are certain aspects of running a business that sometimes, when we start as a solopreneur, we're just focused on, I just want to sell this skill that I've got. But we don't always step into the understanding that the minute we start doing that, we're running a business. And if you want to have steady business, and if you want to increase your revenue, you've got to treat it like a business. So what does that mean? A business needs leads. You've got to have people who you can talk to sell to. Those are your leads. You need to have a sales process. So how do you get them from someone who's in your audience or a lead all the way to a client? So you've got to be selling, and selling is a rep. It's a workflow all its own that you need to learn and practice. Then there's onboarding your clients. Because why? Customer service is everything. People are jaded. They don't want to be sold something then realize that they're not going to be taken care of. They need to trust that when they give you money, something happens. Something good happens. So you need to onboard them, you need to manage your client, and you need to give a great customer experience. So what have we got? We've got lead generation, we've got selling, client management, and customer service. That's kind of bundled together in my opinion. Then your craft. You see, and then outside of that, there's all kinds of other marketing to build an audience and to just begin generating those leads. So it's not a ton of different elements that build your business, but they're all critical. So it's finding a way to balance your time and hire out what maybe it's like, I really am not good at this. I will never be good at this, so I'm willing to hire it out. Or is this just something I didn't know I needed to do and I need to learn how to do it? So these are the reps, and we need to be doing them on a regular basis. So it's not like the plumbing project or me in the gym where it's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Anything else, Jonathan? We're good. Okay. Well, that wraps it up today. I mean, we have talked a lot about what it takes, and we talk about this a lot in this podcast. So listen to our other episodes as well. But doing the reps is what it's all about. It is what will set you apart from everybody else. I hear so many people who have built amazing businesses and they quickly rise from, they start their business at the same time that someone else did, but they quickly rise to the top and they become the go-to person, the number one thought leader in their industry. And it's all about putting in the time. It's all about being willing to put in the grunt work. So when the alarm goes off and it's time to go to the gym, you say, yeah, I'm going. I don't care what I feel like. I'm throwing on my exercise clothes and I'm going. That's what you need to do with your business. So whatever aspects of your business are weakest, lean into those. Figure out what the reps are and then do them. Because that's how you're going to actually achieve your biggest goals. And this is the success tip that I promise you no one's really talking about. And it's just doing the work. It's so easy if you will just sit back and think about it. Would you do this in the gym? Would you do this for your physical health? Then why aren't you doing it for your business? So that's it for today. Think about your business. What's the number one thing that you can do for your business? And that is to make sure you're in a community of like-minded people who are also growing their business. So you can share ideas and actually get in the right mindset and grow in those places that you're needing growth. For that, you need the hub. Visit solopreneurlife.com/join hub and become part of the hub for solopreneurs who are on track to hit their biggest, most audacious goals. Don't forget to subscribe to the Solopreneur Life Podcast wherever you tune in and visit us at Solopreneur Life. Join us next week for another smart episode. And until then, stay awesome.